What was the worst mistake you ever made? Got stuck on my balcony before work one morning. Door latched as I shut it. Was approximately 6 feet off ground, so I decided to jump off. Landed on my feet. Grass was wet. Feet slipped. Fractured 3 vertebrae. Spent 9 months in a hospital bed. I worked at a marine mammal rescue center in Alaska. It could be really fun and rewarding, but the work itself was anything but glamorous. During the training, we were told emphatically when approaching a rehabbing sea lion from the front, you have to hold your breath until you can get to the side or their breath will knock you out. We laughed, but the teacher said, "Oh, I'm not kidding. Should have taken it more seriously. My first week there, I approach a sea lion we're rehabbing, and when I'm about 5 feet away, it opened its mouth wider than my head and let out a 4-second long belch, as sea lions are known to do. I immediately fell to the ground puking, couldn't think straight for 2 minutes, and felt nauseous most of the rest of the day, and had to go home early. Bring on a sleazy business partner whose shenanigans put me under. Even 25 years later, if he stepped in front of my car, I wouldn't even think of tapping the brakes. Dorky guy in our graphics lab at school was trying to convince us to buy Apple stock as we struggled with our PowerPC 6300s. No man, they were hiring the CEO they fired. He started the company. He's like ... visionary. He's gonna resurrect them, right? Quitting college to take a management promotion at my fast food job. Not watching a movie with my dad before he died from cancer. My dad was months into his chemo treatments at this point, and he just asked me one day if I wanted to watch some old movies with him for a bit. I declined and said I needed to work on school stuff. I was living at home at the time, and I was taking about 15 hours of classes, so I was generally busy, but not then. It tore me apart to see my dad that way. The drugs had been rough on him, and it pained me to see him like that. My dad passed maybe a month or 2 later, and it is still to this day my biggest regret. We both loved movies, and I would give anything to go back and watch anything with him. I still randomly have moments of despair thinking about it, and I know he would not want me to continue beating myself up, but it's hard. Don't have regrets like me. Spend those precious moments with your loved ones. I'm a dad. Trust me, he didn't mind, probably was proud to see you working hard and getting work done. I know I would be. I also know you, Dad, would not want you holding on to that regret. Pet sitting for a pet fox. I pet sit for a living and came across an opportunity to get 10x the money one weekend by pet sitting for a pet fox while the owners were on vacation. It was super cute, but now it's a year later, and my car still smells like fox. No idea how that's even possible. The fox was never in the car. Can't take friends on rides anymore. Talking to police without a lawyer. Don't do that, kids. I took a legal class where they told us about a hairdresser who was being stalked by her ex. When she left work, after dark, she slipped a pair of shearing scissors in her coat pocket, just in case, because her ex had ambushed her in the parking lot of her apartment complex before. On the way home she was pulled over. The officer noticed the handle of the scissors poking out and asked what they were. She explained they were precautionary, in case her ex attacked her again. She was arrested for having a concealed weapon she failed to notify the officer about. Because she intended to use the scissors as a weapon, legally they were a weapon. If she had just said the scissors were from work, and she accidentally left them in her pocket, they wouldn't have been considered a weapon and she would have been fine. Abso-fucking-lutly. I got hugely fucked over on this. I reported a sick fuck for posting CP stuff online to the police. Asked what I was doing looking at it, explained it was on fucking Facebook, not the dark web, and I stumbled across it. At that point I should have asked for a lawyer. Apparently I shouldn't go on FB if that's what is in there. I said I shouldn't drive on a fucking motorway in case I saw an accident then. Maybe telling them to get a fucking grip wasn't the best move. Took 18 months of my life and a judge 15 seconds. Why is Mr. Snaggletooth here? I am not bringing in the jury and the case has no merit. Honestly, fuck the police. I literally wouldn't give them the time of day without legal representation being present. Got offered an internal promotion for double salary job as a JavaScript developer. I was PHP mainly at time at UK FTSE 100 company and declined because I was humble about my skills, didn't want to cause issues. Now I'm 8 years wiser and realize no one knows what they're doing, and I would have been fine with 20 hours on Udemy. Trying heroin. Spent 6 years chasing that dragon. I'm now 5 years clean though. Edit. Thank you all for the well wishes and the sharing of your struggles journey with addiction. If you know someone struggling, or you are someone struggling, the Vivitrol shot was a massive help. It's not addictive, can't be traded or sold, and helped me immensely. That, and a flock of chickens. I don't feel like I've any major mistakes in my life. Just a long series of small, seemingly inconsequential, ones that stacked on top of each other. Sometimes it feels like my entire life is a gigantic mistake without beginning or end. I really can't point to a singular decision. Thinking crack would be no more addicting than weed. Been sober 20 plus years now. One positive side effect of getting hooked on crack was that it forced me to stop drinking way before I otherwise would have. I killed 38 chickens by pure mistake. I was 10 and wanted to let my parents know how many chickens we had. So, I started placing them in a barrel as I counted them. At some point I noticed it was way quieter and dumped the barrel over to see what was going on. I didn't understand at the time that stacking things in an enclosed space creates a breathing issue. So now we had all these dead chickens, including our beloved Birdzilla intersex, I believe. After attempting chicken CPR, which obviously didn't work, I came into my house bawling that I was a chicken murdered and needed to go to jail. Once my parents fully understood what was going on, they laughed so damn hard and said my punishment was to bury the chickens and I was punishing myself hard enough, and my dad explained how it worked. I cheated on the love of my life. Ruined an amazing thing. First and last time I ever make that mistake. Edit. Besides that one weird dude, thank you guys for the kind words. It's not something I get to talk about with people in person much without getting judged, so it means a lot. Talked a little about this in other posts, but my decision to stay and try to help my mom. After my grandmother died, my cousin and I were set to inherit a house, but we gave our halves to her. At the time I was living in Europe, in Budapest, for 3.5 years. I was so close to residency. Then I saw she was having trouble financially when I came to visit for a family reunion. I had a return ticket, my jobs, but I fucking stayed because I felt bad. We set agreements that I would pay half of everything and then later give her a bit extra so I can save to help my fiancé come here. That in order for this to work, I'd like to live in the house so I'm not paying rent somewhere plus half of the bills, and I wanted to be around the dogs, which I also take care of. Then she took advantage of this by buying more things and investing in the house, which she agreed to sell because she can't afford it without someone helping her. Immediately after I didn't have a way back, things changed. She hated my now ex-partner and would demand time and time again we break up, even though she was nothing but kind to her. She decided she wanted more money immediately. She has threatened to kill herself by putting a gun to her head, pushed me, hit me, tried to choke me, because she would start conflicts and not let me walk away, or didn't like what I had to say. She's tried to cut me off from other parts of the family that know and want to help me. I lost everything because of this decision, but I'm slowly rebuilding, and I think next year I'll be able to find my way back, maybe to Prague this time, or back to Budapest. I don't know, I just want the life I had back, and this time she won't get to be a part of it. Giving all my best in my last company, had almost no much social life. I was a workaholic. I was like the best developer, thinking it would all result to us eventually got laid off. When I was in grad school I went to the in the middle of the night, Because the pain from my middle ear infection was so bad I couldn't stop sobbing, I cleaned myself up and drove over. The doctor showed me the pain chart and asked me to rank my pain on a scale of 1-10. I said maybe a 6. He gave me a dubious look and asked, a 6 had you crying and driving to the in the middle of the night? I said I figured the higher numbers are reserved for people with third-degree burns, severed limbs, and the like. He burst out laughing and injected me with something that killed the pain in 30 fucking seconds and had me walking on air. Then I got a prescription for some antibiotics and all was well, at least until I got the bill. A coworker had to leave work early because she was worried about her husband. She hadn't heard from him all day and his work said he never showed up. He had some crazy shit going on at the time. I think his dad had just passed away and he also had recent issues with alcohol and recurring bouts of depression. So of course she was worried about the worst that could have happened. So she rushes home to find his car still in its parking space and his keys and phone still on the counter. She calls out his name and nothing. Heart pounding, she searches the apartment and still nothing. As she's standing there in the kitchen in tears trying to decide if 911 should be the next call, she sees him lying out on the balcony in his underwear. The dude stepped out for a smoke with his morning coffee and the door latched behind him. He was wearing shorts and a shirt, but when no one heard his calls for help from his 20th floor balcony in downtown, he tried throwing his clothes down to get someone's attention. Their balcony faced east, and he got that scorching morning sun at the beginning of summer. Poor guy was sunburned to a crisp, and had taken a dump in his coffee cup. There's a small attraction on the Oregon coast called the Sea Lion Caves. Sounds interesting, right? I wonder what that's like. Let me save you the $9. You buy your ticket in the gift shop. The ticket gets you onto an old rickety elevator that takes you down into a dim, dank cavern full of grunting, belching sea lions, sea lion waste, and stinky sea lion stink. 30 seconds later, after seeing some sea lions in their natural habitat, you're ready to head back up the oil elevator and get back to feeling like you haven't just fallen through the floor of an outhouse at a fish processing plant. I visited 15 years ago, so it might be a better experience by now. But yeesh, I could have bought a pizza with that money.